Travis Holmes with the Duval Dive Podcast and BigCatCountry.com here with your Jacksonville Jaguars updates from the Miller Electric Center. On Monday, the Jaguars kicked off OTAs day 4 let's start things off with a quick roll call. Wide receiver Josh Cameron practiced after nursing his ankle injury in the earlier portions of the offseason. We had offensive lineman Cole Van Lanen, who was primarily practicing off to the side, along with tight end Nate Rohrkacher. Didn't see running back Chris Rodriguez on the field. Wide receiver cornerback Travis Hunter, wearing teal on offense today, again was locked in, following receiver drills and pretty much in and out of every offensive huddle. And I don't know if it's notable or not, but I figured I would just at least say it. Like, we've seen a lot of Travis Hunter on offense currently in the earlier portions of OTA. Then again, offense is probably the area where he would probably need more work, as defense normally comes a little bit easier in comparison. Notably, cornerback Jordan Lewis also had a similar practice regimen as Hunter, kind of following along on the defensive huddles, but practicing off to the side. But you guys are here. You're here for the highlights. Like, what happened? All right, gotcha. It was a very competitive day that you'd probably want to see if you're a fan of the Jacksonville Jaguars team and not just a fan of the offense winning every rep or someone in the fantasy football community. Talked to Coach Cohen about this post-practice, and that's kind of where you're going to have to measure those responses. If you have a great offense, then that's awesome. But if you have a defense that can't stop anybody, that's probably not the greatest thing for the actual team. So today's back and forth heavyweight battle, which is what it absolutely felt like, because it felt like it was another level of a non-padded OTA practice, just being honest about that, where both sides kind of seem to win and get their victories, but also have something to take away from it, if that makes any kind of sense. So today, the defense got their hands on the ball way more than you probably want if you're Liam Cohen. That's honestly true. But the starting offense kind of seemed, from my perspective, just to be a little like a hair slow on their progressions, getting to the checkdowns, getting to the shorter throws, things of that nature. But the deep ball is absolutely back in Duval. And that was something that Cohen mentioned in his early OTA practices. So being fair to both sides of the ball, the offense probably left maybe another 3 to even 4 touchdowns on the field on those deep passes, where the quarterbacks were just kind of like identifying the open receiver later in their progressions, allowing the defensive backfield enough time to kind of adjust and make a play on the ball. So that's Trevor Lawrence, that's Joey Aguilar, Carter Bradley, and Nick Mullins. That's not just the Trevor Lawrence conversation, obviously. But this is sort of that time of year that you're kind of looking for that. Like, you're working on the kinks in your offense. You're figuring out the areas to improve on. That's literally why you're here, if that makes sense. So it was a really good day by the defensive backfield. While similarly being a solid but imperfect, we'll call it, day for the starting Jacksonville offensive unit. As far as the individual highlights, Parker Washington, he opened the period with a 15-yard catch down the sideline on Montaric Brown, who I thought had an interception for a second, like it was a diving attempt. Now, Parker did drop his next attempt with the tight Jarrian Jones in coverage, but he later made it up with a nice contested, we'll call it, back shoulder throw with Caleb Ramsaw in coverage. Now, our highlight of the day was probably Brian Thomas Jr. He had multiple big plays. He beat, who was it? It was Jarrian Jones for a, let's say, 60-yard touchdown. He had 3 to 4 yards of separation, and it was a beautiful throw from Lawrence hitting BTJ in stride. That was the one that was okay, yeah, deep ball is back in Jacksonville. I gave you that. Montaric also showed up with a really nice rep against BTJ, running with him step for step on a deep ball attempt, and it was a real strong jam at the line of scrimmage. And I got my first Jalen Huskey, safety Jalen Huskey sighting after he came away with a scramble drill, deep ball pass breakup to end that original 7-on-7 period. And then he nearly intercepted Carter Bradley on a deep ball attempt. He was streaking across the field on a throw that I thought was a touchdown when the quarterback let the ball go. It just looked to be a busted play by the cornerback on that side of the field, but he closed the gap quickly in coverage. And I'm like, okay, I see what they saw on film there. Then follow that up with the team's 11-on-11 period, and that was also super competitive. Multiple touchdown passes by the offense, multiple pass breakups, and get into one interception, getting their hands on the ball by the defense. Trevor Lawrence opened the period with a deep pass to Parker Washington, who probably had 1 to 2 yards of separation on the route. But Montaric Brown, hey man, to his credit, he got his eyes around at the right moment, easily intercepted the underthrown pass. Antonio Johnson was also in coverage deep, and it was weird because originally when the ball was thrown, I'm like, oh, that's touchdown easily. And then I see the angle Antonio Johnson's taking, and I'm like, wow, that was a bad angle. Oh, no, it wasn't. He's reading the ball. And just an underthrown ball, unfortunately, for the offense. But again, this is the time to work on those things. Make sure you're catching your receivers in stride, making sure you guys are on the same page. I get it. And I didn't mention earlier, should have mentioned in my roll call, Josh Hines-Allen, Jaguar star defensive end. He was also back in practice. And on that Montaric Brown interception, Hines-Allen beat Walker Little for what would have likely been a sack or at minimum a quarterback hit on the play. So that's always good news to see that Josh Hines-Allen is back. We knew he was going to be back, let's be honest. But later in that period, Brian Thomas beat Montaric for a deep touchdown down the sideline. I mean, he had at least, 8 yards of separation. It looked to be a busted play by the secondary. Like it felt like he couldn't figure out which area of the field he was supposed to be covering when the receivers ran their route. But nevertheless, another deep touchdown for Brian Thomas in today's practice. And wide receiver Jakobi Meyers, he began to heat up at the last 2 periods of the practice, 4 to 5 catches, all in that intermediate area of the field. So, yeah, big day for the veteran free agent, keeping those chains moving, continuing catching balls, clean day. That's all you want to see right there. And for the undrafted free agent crowd, it's got to be Malik Muhammad today, from my perspective anyways. He had 2 great pass breakups, both on wide receiver C.J. Williams, also an undrafted free agent wide receiver. One was nearly intercepted after the tip pass, and the other one was him just doing a great job, sifting through the traffic in the middle of the field and getting his hand in there to knock the ball out. Then you also had undrafted free agent cornerback Devin Marshall. He had a pass breakup to end that period, with Joey Aguilar's pass being intended for undrafted free agent Michael Wortham. So for the most part, that is what we have from Monday at the Miller Electric Center. We're going to have you guys covered on Wednesdays. Duval Dive talking about, I'm not even going to tell you what we're going to talk about. We're going to surprise you guys. But yeah, keep it locked in.